Hello once again, and this session we'll be looking into the topic called as microwave frequency measurement. So in the previous session, we have seen how to find the free impedance using two methods, that is lot line method and reflectometer method. So in this session, we'll be looking into frequency measurement, that is microwave frequency measurement. Here we have three different methods for finding frequency. So first one is using wave meter method, wave meter, which is a direct method, and the second one is using slot line, which is an indirect method, and the third one is harmonic oscillator method. So the first wave meter method, you may have seen the frequency meter like this in your laboratory experiments, which is the one which we'll be using most commonly for finding the frequency. This is the wave meter. So the cross section will look like this. It will be having a short circuit plunger inside that cavity, and the waveguide is connected to that particular cavity through a small wire. So what happens is we all know that to find the frequency, we will be rotating the top portion. So the line which is horizontal to the horizontal line, which is in the scale represented in the wave meter, will give you the particular frequency value. So we don't know what is happening inside. So what happens inside is the short circuit plunger will go in and out if you move left to, if you rotate the wave meter top in clockwise direction, this short circuit plunger will move inside. And if you move it opposite direction, it will come out. So what is happening here is the cavity space is getting varied for each and every rotation. So if the cavity space is rotated, varied, you all know the each and every cavity will be having a resonant frequency. So that resonant frequency will be fixed based on the dimension of that particular cavity. So if you vary the short circuit plunger, the plunger will move inside and in and out, so that the cavity space will vary for each and every movement. So each and every movement will give you a different resonant frequency for that particular cavity. So if you are sending a signal, I'll show you the total setup for measuring this frequency using a wave meter. There will be a microwave signal source in the lab setup. It will be a Klystron oscillator, and then you may be using an attenuator or one isolator. Following that isolator or attenuator will be the frequency meter, which is frequency wave meter, and then VSWR meter, slot line, so on. So what we do is the signal will be generated by this microwave signal source, which will be passed through the isolator, and it will reach the frequency. This is the point where we have to find what is the frequency of the signal which is generated by the source. We don't know, the source will not show you the frequency of the signal which it is generated. So only the frequency meter will show you what is the frequency generated by the microwave signal source. Okay, so this is the place we will be connecting the wave meter. So the signal will come from this source towards this through this waveguide into the wave meter. So you will what we'll do is you will vary the short circuit plunger. This top cap will be rotating. So this short circuit plunger will go in and out. So each and every point will be, each and every location will give you different resonant frequency for that particular cavity based on the dimension, height and width. So height will be the one which is changing always. And once for example, if you are generating a signal with a frequency of 10 giga, in the lab setup, we will be using X band component, that is which ranges from 8 to 12 gigahertz. So I'm taking an example like 10 gigahertz is the signal which is generated by the source. So 10 gigahertz signal is generated and it is connected through this waveguide and it will reach the wave meter. So if you move this short circuit plunger, this resonant cavity dimension will change and the resonant frequency will also change. So it will change from 0 to, for example, if it is a X band meter, range will be from 8 to 12. So if you vary this space, so frequency will vary. Resonant frequency of the cavity will vary from 8 to 12. So once the resonant frequency of this cavity is equal to the input signal, which is 10 giga, what happens is this cavity will observe the signal. It will not completely observe, it will partially observe the signal, since the incoming signal and the resonant frequency of this cavity is in sync. It will observe some power. So that is the reason why if you measure the signal through this setup at the if you connect a CRO at the output, and you if you look at the waveform, once the frequency, I mean resonant frequency is reached, you will find a small dip in that particular sawtooth. So dip means there is some loss. So that loss is due to the signal absorption or power absorption in the wave meter due to syncing of that resonant frequency and the incoming frequency. That's why we will say once the dip is there in the CRO2 for you, we'll say that is the frequency of the particular signal. Okay, so this is the frequency measurement using wave meter method. And the second method is using slaughter line method. Here the formula used is lambda g, that is guide wavelength equal to 2 into d minimum. The same formula what you used in impedance measurement too. So d minimum is the distance of first V minimum from your load, and lambda g is the guide wavelength. Also, lambda g guide wavelength of rectangular. If you are using a rectangular waveguide, you have some formula, and if you are using circular waveguide, some other will be there. And the guide wavelength formula is equal to lambda naught by root of 1 minus lambda naught by 2a the whole square, where a is the dimension of your rectangular waveguide, or if it is circular waveguide, that will be the dimension. And first thing what you have to do is find the d minimum using the slaughter line. Move the slaughter line from right to left from load, and find the first position of V minimum from load, and that distance will be measured using vernier caliper in your test bench, and that value will be the d minimum value. If you know the d minimum value, you can find the lambda g, which is the guide wavelength, and the guide wavelength is also equal to lambda naught by 1 minus root of 1 minus lambda naught by 2a square. So if you substitute here, you can easily find the value of lambda naught, and you know the value of a by measuring the dimension of your waveguide if you are using. So if you know the value of lambda naught, easily frequency can be found. You know the relation between frequency and wavelength. Lambda naught equal to c by f naught. So f naught will give you, lambda naught will give you the value of f naught, and c will be the velocity of the wave, which is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. This is one other method which is also simple, but not that simple when compared to wave meter, which is a direct one. You can rotate the short circuit plunger knob, and directly you can find which is the what is the frequency from the chart shown in that wave meter here. Directly you can note it, and you can write down this is the frequency. But in wave meter, slaughter line method, you have to find out. There is no direct thing available. You have to find the parameters and solve it, and you will get the value of resonant frequency. And the third method is this is the method used to measure the frequency using slaughter line method. Setup used for that. Third one is harmonic oscillator method. So this is another one simple method where the mixer is the heart of this setup. So first block is variable frequency source and a counter, followed it with harmonic generator, and which is directly connected to the mixer. And the second source to the mixer is unknown frequency, which is what we are going to find out, unknown frequency. And finally the output of the mixer is connected to null beat indicator. Sorry. So what we are going to do is find the unknown frequency generated by this unknown device. So we have a variable frequency source, which is a known source. Frequency signal generated, frequency of the signal generated by this variable source frequency is known to us, which is directly connected to harmonic generator, and the output of the harmonic generator is known. This is unknown. So if these two are connected as input to the mixer, you all know the function of mixer. Mixer will give you two types of output. One is if this is input number 1 and if this is input number 2, output of the mixer will be 1 plus 2 or 1 minus 2. Generally, we will prefer 1 minus 2. If it is 1 minus 2, to find the frequency, what we have to do is unknown frequency is directly connected to the mixer. We can't do anything with that unknown frequency. Only thing we can do is we are going to find the frequency of that unknown device. That's it. And to find that, what we'll be doing is vary the variable frequency source. You know what is the frequency you are generating using this variable frequency source. Go on varying. So once go on varying so if you vary the frequency source, the mixer will get two types of input. Let it be A and let it be B. So output will be A minus B. So null bit indicator will give you a value that will be the difference between these two inputs. So how to find the unknown frequency is once you reach the point where the variable frequency source is equal to unknown frequency, the output of the mixer will be 0. So null bit indicator will give you a null value. So that is the simple. This is the method we are going to use to find the unknown frequency, which is very simple. Connect the unknown frequency as one input to the mixer and the known frequency source, which is variable to the mixer as the second input. Go on vary the input, variable source with unknown frequency source and test. So only thing we have to do is vary the input frequency from your variable frequency source, which is known, and note the value of null bit indicator. Once the null bit indicator show you null, that means the value of the frequency shown in that variable frequency shown source will be equal to the unknown frequency. Only then you will get the value as null in the null bit indicator. So that will be the final answer for your unknown frequency. Okay, so this is one other simple method. So out of these three methods, wavemeter is the first method which is most preferred, and second preferred method may be harmonic method, which is quite easy, and the last preferred method is using slot length. Okay, hope you understand. Thank you.